Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, and looky who I found right here when there's a big Steelers victory. Hey, you know what? My colleague, Mr. Brian E. Roach, I got to bring you to the floor here first before we do all our singing and dancing and celebrating.
How you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good. I didn't go up to the Factory of Sadness because it's Halloween and I've got things going on and the kid and trick-or-treat and that. So couldn't do that trip today. So therefore, we're available a little earlier than usual. Not a Tuesday post-game. Tuesday quarterback.
Well, look, here's what I wanted to say. For everybody who says he's washed, for everybody who says he's done, for everybody who says he's through, this is the jersey I wore today.
You know what I always wear when they play against the Brownies?
Well, that's fine.
I got a needle.
With the Hayden Jr.
I was out earlier. I was out earlier. Guys like, hey, he played better when he was in Cleveland. I was like, yeah, maybe you should have kept him then.
Yeah. How about that non 2-point conversion? Big Ben running the ball in. Yeah, bite me. That's what I've got to say. Tired. Sick of it. Stop saying he's watched. Just get behind the dude.
I thought you were going to say something else about that play.
Well, that was also below.
The refs suck. This whole game, no, it's indefensible, and I'm going to be saying it multiple times this game. It was no holds barred by Sean Hockley and his crew, of which now the Steelers will go out there next week and play a game, and there'll be like 5 pass interference calls on somebody just breathing on someone.
This is what I'm happy to be wearing tomorrow.
Ah, there you go. You know, we got
That's
a couple.
right.
Got a couple of those that I've been working on over in the steelcityunderground.com/shop. If anyone's interested, you got Amazon Prime. You can get it there pretty quick, too. Shameless plug. Might as well plug our own. We're always plugging like everyone else. To get a little bit of our own plug. 15-10. Not a conventional score by any means, but, Brian.
It's called old school. It's an old school football score.
Brian, you weren't able to join me for the pregame. It was like a 42 over under, and I said, you got to go with the under on this game. And I don't feel that either team was going to blow either team out like it happened last year in those other games. I thought it was going to be tight to the vest. I got people saying ridiculous things to me on the side in various comments areas, internets, messages and stuff. They're like, oh, the Browns defense sucks because they got in a shootout with the Chargers. You thought the Steelers were going to drop
number 3 run defense in the league.
Yeah, come on. And the fact here, I'm surprised, and I'm not surprised at the same time. But 26 attempts, Najee Harris. We got our magic number. He gets 91 yards. I would have been surprised if he had 100. He had 100 all-purpose, but 100 rushing. They haven't had a 100-yard runner, I don't believe, against the Browns, or at least it's not commonplace. We'll put it that way. I'm not going to pull up all their old stats because I don't care. They lost. We'll have a few people dropping in this. They'll be like, homers. Yeah, it feels good because you know why? Since January, all we've heard are these people up in Northeast Ohio on that mistake of the lake run their freaking mouths about Ben being old, washed up, Steelers team sucks, this and that. We beat you without our head coach. Well, guess what? We didn't have a freaking kicker for half the game. So, I'm going to give it to them. We'll go through some of these plays. Let's look at some of these performances. We talked about Najee. You talked about Ben, but we didn't get into the skinny 22 of 34, 64.7% of his passes completed for 266 yards, a touchdown, and a 98.4 rating versus his counterpart of Baker Mayfield, who was pretty close right here. 0.3 off on the completion percentage, 20 of 31 with the gimp arm or wherever was going on there, an 86.1 rating himself, but they contained Nick Chubb to only 16 attempts, or 61 yards on 16 attempts, I should say. 3.8 average. I would guess that's a little low for him in his totals. And there was at one point, I think Jim Nantz or Tony Romo said, well, Odell Beckham with one catch. I'm like, what are you guys paying attention to? They mentioned Mike Hilton's name about 10 times in this game. I'm like, it's week 8, man. He's been gone forever. You know what I mean? They're really they have this like love affair with him that even I don't have. But Odell 1 catch for 6 yards. That would be the low.
Overrated Beckham. Overrated. Forget the Dell part. He's overrated Beckham.
You want to know how overrated? I've got to do this. By the way. There happens to be a gentleman that we feel that much of Steelers Nation does not appreciate. And that's Benny Snell football. Had 1 catch for 7 yards, which is a yard more. He outperformed Odell Beckham Jr. You, my friend, get a grown-ass man just for that. And that was he almost got the first down on that play too.
I can't go there with
no,
you
I'm still
on that.
Going there.
You can do it. I can't do it.
Brian, you can wear that shirt tomorrow, but I'm celebrating now.
Oh yeah, believe me, I'm celebrating now too. It's and just to get this all off our chest, it's a multi-celebration day because Jets, Jets, stupid Bengals lose too. Life is good, man.
This isn't just a hat rack, folks. I told you the Bengals weren't going to be able to sustain, and there you go. And it could happen on any given Sunday or Monday because we know the Steelers got the Bears and the Lions coming up, and that could be some interesting stuff, especially when the Lions just totally crap the bed. I thought they may have actually had a chance at maybe their first win. They lose 44-6 to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Smoked.
Oh, my God. Smoked isn't even the word for it. And San Francisco, an up-and-down team, particularly because you want to talk about a team that can never stay healthy over the last 3-4 years. 33-22 over the Bears, who didn't have their head coach, Matt Nagy. So back to the Browns. Five receptions, half of his targets. Jarvis Landry, who I felt catches everything that goes his way, bottled up pretty good. The tight ends mostly got most of their stuff in here, as I thought they might at the beginning of the game. But this kind of went the way that I thought it would. It might have went even a little bit better if the Steelers had a kicker, and we're going to get into that. Let's dig into the details, my friend.
Sure.
Pretty interesting day to have when you see Ray McLeod and Zach Gentry starting, which would be the first series. Steelers win a coin toss for the first time since Shep was a pup. That would have been back in Buffalo, week 1. And finally get to defer, so they're not on the field first, which is quite amazing. And that kind of plays into some of the game script and some of the decision-making, I believe. There's some people... People are going to hate some of this stuff, but, I'm not as down as what everyone else was.
I'll talk about that when we get to it.
Oh, we're going to get to it. Browns had a lot of punts and let's talk about how their possessions went. Field goal, turnover on downs, because I feel they and Baltimore play a little too aggressively sometimes. It was the last line of scrimmage was the Steelers 39, so, yeah, I get it. Punt, and a touchdown, punt. Turnover, a fumble, and then turnover on downs, and that's pretty much how the game went, where the Steelers had punt, field goal, punt, turnover on downs, the end of the half, a punt, 2 TDs, punt, and down. So they found themselves in a little haphazard way here with the 3-3. What was that? First time since, not that, but the first time since, did they say 2011, 2012?
Something like that, yeah.
Between those teams, about 10 years since they didn't have a touchdown in the first half. And the Steelers' first drive, I should say the Browns' first series here, 13 plays, 63 yards. Looked like they had a really good game, a really good script for their opening there. And I was like, well, they're just going to throw the ball. It's almost like a case of you're going to outsmart yourself. And I felt that's their whole first half was. This drive was pretty solid, obviously. Baker throws right out the gate. He's throwing here and there. They got Chubb healthy, and Chubb's getting in there. And they're able to collect at least one first down on the 3rd and 6, but most of the time some chunk plays, like I said, 63 yards. Ends in a field goal as they get down to the Steelers' 8. There was an incomplete pass to Austin Hooper. That was a complete misconnection there. Wide open. No reason why he shouldn't have just walked that in for a touchdown. Steelers get lucky. They hand off to Chubb, who's stopped for a yard by Devin Bush. I'll say it a little louder for those of you in the back. Devin Bush. Just saying. And then,
but look, despite the fact that Devin Bush stopped him, I'm going to say this because I said it on Twitter. That fourth down stop is courtesy of one OGGAM, regardless of who made the tackle. Without Cam Hayward literally just saying,
"Oh yeah,
get the hell out of my face," that play does not go that way.
Carry on, my wayward son, because that was the combo, the duo that gets the sack here for a loss of 5 yards and drops them back to 4th and 12, and they're forced to kick a field goal. Huge grown-ass men plays by Cam Hayward and T.J. Watt. And T.J., let me tell you,
over and over again.
The Aaron Donald thing versus Cam is starting to get some legs with me, man. Watching it today against that offensive line, and that poor guy that had to come in for Jack Conklin was not prepared for what was about to happen to him. There was a few plays there. It was just like Dan Moore still gets beat by Myles Garrett in some instances here, obviously, but again, it's Myles Garrett.
Sort of to be expected.
Yes,
it's not. We do not disrespect Myles Garrett.
No,
he's a top draft pick. He's a great guy. Well, I don't know if he's a great guy. He might be a jerk. I don't know. I
like his Halloween decorations though, and the outfit.
That made me laugh. I thought that was hilarious.
I chuckled.
He is a top tier defender. There's not a question about that. So you expect him to take advantage of Dan Moore at times. Fine with me. How many total sacks did Myles Garrett get during this game?
I believe just the one.
There you go. How many total sacks did T.J. Watt get during this game?
I believe he got 1.5.
There you go.
Ding, ding, ding. Yay. Well, you know what? I think all 4 of the Steelers sacks. Let me see here. You get Chris Wormley with 1. Isaiah Loudermilk quietly.
Yeah, quietly got a sack.
Announced on the broadcast, but he got one. Cam, of course, had the half, and TJ had 1.5. Steelers only give up 2. The one with McDowell, where they threw a flag. Well, we're going to get to that. They threw a flag and then decided, you know what? No, we're not. This referee crew just stinketh, sucketh. And I
can't say it. Yeah, I can't say it any better than I said it on Twitter. You have crews out there that will take any excuse at all to throw a flag. Oh, the wind blew, and that guy's towel moved. Therefore, that's a flag for offside. There are crews that are so egregious in throwing flags that you just go, you can't even believe it. This crew makes them all look conservative.
Yeah. They were just...
he stepped on a guy. He stepped on a guy running into the punter because the punter stepped on you. Therefore, it's running into the punter.
That's funny that you say it would make the other guy. Well, no, because I think there was so much contact on a lot of these passing downs. I was just waiting for at the end of the game where Minka knocks this ball out or Joe Hayden knocks it out for them to throw one because Deontay Johnson was getting just absolutely.
Oh, he got mugged the whole time.
If he almost traded his jersey before the end of the third quarter with someone like with Greg Newsome specifically on most of those instances.
See, I'm not going to complain about that because at least that was consistent. Well, it was consistent on both sides. They didn't call PIs a lot on us. They didn't call PIs on them. So I'm not going to complain about that.
I don't think they called one the whole game.
Yeah, the roughing call on poor Alex, Highsmith. That's weak. That was a weak call.
And I don't think that Highsmith really touched him as much as TJ came through on the back, and TJ was coming for the hammer for
TJ knocked him into Alex.
Yes.
It's just, Tony Romo made it sound way worse on the broadcast. It was, that's a vicious hit. No, it's not. It's shut up.
It was a bad replay angle, too. Yeah. Now, the replay angle you see, if I'm the referee looking through that, then I'm thinking that I saw what I saw and I throw the flag. And then you had one that was corrected with T.J. Watt face mask.
Yeah.
And it was just totally
they pulled
jersey.
It back.
Yeah, and it's because of the angles. And if you're getting bad angles, you got to call what you see. You don't call what you think you saw. You're going to get yourself in trouble big time with that. Speaking from experience, 25 years of officiating, different sport, but it's the same idea and concept,
Dan Moore clearly was holding Myles Garrett several times during the game, same way that TJ gets held several times during the game. They didn't call it on both sides. So I'm not going to complain about those things, right? Consistency. It's all I ever want. You can consistently blow the calls And as long as they're blown on both sides of the ball, I'm happy. But when you just are inconsistent or blatantly one-sided on things, then it's a problem. Or if you're just an idiot. Like, should we talk about it now?
Which one?
You tell me. The most egregious non-call of the game. The one that left us without a kicker.
Oh, well, we're getting that. Anyways, let me see. I was trying to see where we were at here. Well, this was the first fourth down that they went for on this next series. And let me see. How many plays? About 8 plays here or so. They go for it. There was a direct snap to Dearness Johnson that was stuffed. He only gained a yard on 3rd and 2. Stopped by your man. That's why the Loudermilk one wasn't seen. Loudermilk right before this. It says Baker Mayfield sacked at 40 for 0 yards. So Loudermilk gets on the stat sheet. But Dearness Johnson, direct snap. Cam Hayward stops him. 4th down, Nick Chubb stopped. Devin Bush, TJ Watt.
Yep.
And your man breaking down the wall. Breaking down the wall. You sent me a gif of the Kool-Aid man running through the wall like, oh, yeah.
I did. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the Steelers get the ball back, and there's a lot of people that complain about various things. And I felt like these series, even though this is a low-scoring game, I feel like the offense, there's more identity here now than there has been. I felt
at least in this game.
When I saw Cleveland, when I saw Cleveland come out the gate, I'm like, wow, this is pretty creative. They're giving a lot of different looks. They're confusing like if you're the defense, you don't know what the heck, pass, run. You don't have a clue what's going on, and you don't have a clue who it's going to. And the Steelers had a little bit of this too, especially with some of the jet motion stuff. And I liked it. You look at some of the runs. Let me see. I had it up here a second ago. And Chase Claypool, 2 for 16 running. Ray McLeod had the 1 for 10. Anthony McFarland, he gets a touch, as does Kalen Ballage. They didn't do anything with those. McFarland for a yard, and Ballage lost 3 on the pitch. He's like frozen time or something. He was just kind of like,
it was weird.
Not to mention that Garrett, a freak athlete, who's what percentile would he be in the NFL? Like 1%, like of all the as far as athletic specimens, probably. You're not going to get away with that, any type of hesitation. But this is something that I talked about in the pregame, Brian. And I said, you hitch the wagons here to Najee Harris and Pat Freiermuth. And Najee goes for 6. Najee goes for 2. Ben finds Claypool for a chunk for 12 yards. It still looked a little messy, a little stuttering, but as the game went on, it looked a lot more fluid with the RPO stuff. Harris picks up 5. Then Ben finds Deontay for 17. Ray goes for 17, but a hold on James Washington, which was not necessary. An incomplete look for Zach Gentry, a 16-yard run left end by Najee Harris, which gets followed up with another with a Kendrick Green offensive holding and then a late hit by Ronnie Harrison. The Kendrick Green hold, I don't know, man. There's a couple of these holds that were called. I think they would have had better ones that were probably missed, that were probably more deserving of some of the ones. There was definitely the Phantom one when we get to the 2-point play later on, too, that I have no clue where that was from. There's another one they were called. It was like on the nose tackle. They couldn't give you a number, and it was like,
yeah, the defensive holding one on the defensive nose tackle. And then as you looked at it, you didn't really see that. You just thought you saw it.
Here's something that made me cringe. So after you had this really nice Najee run, they would have been right on the doorstep, but you had the offsetting penalties. You have to replay 2nd and 10. And as soon as I seen Ben empty everything out, I'm like, oh no. Don't hold on to the ball too long, man, and he gets sacked. And this was the one where they pick up the flag. McDowell lays on him, gives him a little hump move on his face or whatever, and drags his tea bag on him. And it's like, could it be any more textbook than what it is there? Yelling and screaming at my television.
As Chris Carter said, there is no better example of going down with your full weight on the quarterback than this. And then, I don't know, performing some bizarre ritual on him with your lower nether regions. Whatever. If that isn't that penalty, then you need to remove the penalty from the penalty book, because there is no better example. And to pick that one back up, going, Oh, he was just loving on him. He was just loving on him. It was
a
okay.
little extra loving there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sets up 3rd and 14 from the Cleveland 22. You had a Ben Roethlisberger, Pat Freiermuth. There was only one pass that went Freiermuth's way that was down by his shins that actually wasn't caught, I think, in this game. How many times was he targeted? It was a healthy amount. Seven targets, 4 catches for 44 yards, including a touchdown with a grown-ass man spike. But that comes a little later because this is a Chris Boswell 31-yard field goal. And then Cleveland, the very first play on the next series is when Jack Conklin ends up getting hurt. He was eventually ruled out of this game, but the Steelers, their defense forces a 3 and out because for whatever reason, the Browns decide to attempt to pass. One, Rashard Higgins, who I thought was going to be a killer here. He usually has very good chemistry with Baker Mayfield. Not today, and he hurts the team even worse later on. Gillen punts 52 yards, goes out of bounds. And then the Steelers end up going 3 and out. Now, Presley Harvin gets off a very good punt here, but we had yet another penalty. This one was declined. Chukwuekorfor with a hold. So you're still getting some offensive penalties. I found it interesting during the broadcast. I don't think I ever looked this up, and I never assumed that the Steelers would be amongst the least penalized teams in the NFL. That's just
that doesn't happen.
No, that's wrong. I think their stats people are wrong. I never bothered to look that up.
Right.
I'm like, mistake-free football? No, this team makes plenty of mistakes. Usually it's the offensive lineman. So
Can't be right.
No, just it sounds. But this is the Betty Snell running into the kicker where he falls kind of. I think these guys know enough by now over the years of how many times the Steelers special teams get screwed on these calls that he wasn't even going to sniff this guy. He just puts his hand up and he falls to the ground. And the Gillen basically falls forward, steps on him or whatever. What the heck was that? That is the most BS. I know we're complaining about referees 15-10, but this is the reason why. Because some of these calls, you get the Steelers on the doorstep here maybe twice. The holding call and then the guy teabagging Ben. That could have been a touchdown. That makes that at least another 3 points at that from this point because you still have Boswell in the game. It's a little bit more of a swing. It changes the whole dynamics of this game as you're getting down and the clock's ticking down in the fourth quarter.
I'll even go one further on that.
Okay.
They get that call and kick that field goal. The fake never happens.
That's true too. That's absolutely true. So the Browns go 3 and out. They go pass again for a run-heavy team. They have 3 guys that have gotten 100 yards rushing this season. Now, I understand one of them's on IR, but you got Chubb and you got Johnson. You got Felton. What the heck is going on here? I'm not that I'm complaining. You know what I mean? Not that I'm complaining. Ray does fumble the ball here. Deep sigh of relief. So that series was just all bizarre. But now it goes into even more bizarre as the Steelers take this from their 37 and you get a little dump pass to Najee. Then you get Najee gains 11 yards. This was Balaj where he gets stopped and they were like, okay, we brought Najee off for one of his obligatory snaps off. Let's bring him back in here and get to work. Ben finds James Washington, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool on a 16-yard run on 1st and 10. So they're moving the chains on 3rd down, which was, I'm nervous all the time. But this looked pretty good. Steelers on 3rd down today. Let's see. Only 4 of 13, 31%. Surprisingly, the Browns were 3 of 10. The bigger department, though, was that the Steelers were 2 of 4 on 4th down versus the Browns 0 for 2 in their attempts there. So that was an interesting one. By the way, Brian, total net yards, Steelers, 370 to the Browns 306. Would not
have thought that, nor would I have thought it even after hearing it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. But we get down to, let's see, 2-minute warning. We're down at the Cleveland 11. Myles Garrett gets to Ben Roethlisberger. They lose 11 yards on a 2nd and 10 and are faced with a 3rd and 17 from the 18. when this was handed off to Najee Harris, I said to myself, are they going for it on 4th down? And they sent out the field goal team, and I remember the thick kicker, not Chris Boswell, the other guy that's holding. And I said, he's a trick play guy. We know we saw this in college. Would they attempt something like that at this juncture of the game with just under 2 minutes left before they go into half, tied at 3-3? And instead, it's Boswell rolling out. And he's looking Zach Gentry. I think he had Pat Freiermuth. And if he didn't hesitate, I don't know that it gets there, but I think Freiermuth at least has some room to operate and maybe make a play happen. But it just gets totally bottled up. Now, at this time, I'm not sure who got the hit on Boswell here. But that was a straight up roughing the passer, helmet hit,
blow
shot
to the head,
blow to his head. It was complete blow to his head, even his arms. He launched into Chris Boswell with nothing called, and now you got a guy that's most likely. I was worried something else may have gotten hurt here. Concussion protocol at the bare minimum for this, and there's going to be a fine. But again, another situation where a flag should have been thrown. This ball should have been down at the 1 yard line. The Steelers punch it in, and it's yet a different story once again. So the referees, whether you're listening to this and you're a Browns fan or a Steelers fan, or you think I'm full of crap, this one right here is definitely a game-changing no-call decision.
There's no question about it. And I mean, look, people always remember the last 30 seconds. I was quoted. I tweeted this at one of
Dane.
One of the better folks out on Twitter, Dane, under arrest. I like him. I'll have to meet him at some point in one of these games. Speaking of which, I have something interesting to talk about with this Monday night game coming up.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, but the thing is, if that. And somebody else said this too, and I don't remember who it was, or I would give them credit. But 100% of the time, if the call works, it's the greatest call ever made. What guts, what cojones, big giant brass ones. Oh my gosh, it's the best thing. He's the greatest coach in the world. Every time it fails, worst call ever. It's the stupidest thing you ever did. Oh my God. It doesn't matter. It all is outcome based. People, look, take your emotions out of it for the moment. I have no problem with the call. None. I will agree with what Tomlin said at this press conference afterwards, which is the idea was we called it. We should have gone out and run it right away. Boom. Mm-hmm. There should have been no time for them to see what we were doing, but there was. We took too long to execute it, and then Boswell took too long to execute it. Throw the ball away. It's not going to work. Throw it away. Right?
Which he sort of did. He was smart enough to he put it up where only 6'7" Zach Gentry can maybe get to it, and it goes up the back of the end zone, no harm, no foul. Even if he throws the pick there, well, it's still better field position. It's talking 3 yards, when it comes
I have
to the 20.
No issue at all with the call. None.
Even leaving points on the board, maybe, and what looked like a defensive struggle.
Yeah, I have no issue. I like the aggressiveness of it.
I do too.
And you're getting the ball coming out in the second half. So all of those things play into making that decision. I will say this again. If that call that should have been made earlier gets made and he's down at the 1 yard line, the fake never happens.
Correct.
Right? They kick a field goal in that call. At that point, it's 6-6. You go up 9-6, or you're already up 9-6. You go up another
9-3
or 9-3. You go up to 12. You don't even think about it. You don't try to do this silly nonsense. You go ahead and do it. Right. So, it's all circumstance, and it is, it's unfortunate because yes, you lose your kicker. It would have been. I don't even want to say it would have been worth it because you can't. There's no making up for it. It was so blatantly obvious how little confidence they had in.
What do you do? What does anybody do there? Nobody rosters
nobody
two kickers.
Has two kickers. Romo's like, oh come on, you got to have somebody on that squad that can make a 20-yard field goal. Why would you? You don't carry an extra kicker.
Zach Banner was inactive, Tony.
Yeah, come on. Anyway.
Not to say that he would be the guy, but you're looking around, these are the guys who make fun of the soccer players that are out there. They're not the soccer players. So
it's there's no question it was an unfortunate outcome to how it played out, but I have no issues at all with the call.
Yeah, everybody calling it stupid, I thought was a little over the top. And there was someone else that said it on Twitter, too. They were like, it's the same thing I always say. Genius when it works, fool when it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is Tomlin's thinking, my defense is playing pretty darn well. They have a wounded duck playing quarterback, and that's kind of how this shakes out. They get the ball back with 21 seconds, but they don't have a kicker, and they had 2 timeouts. So now they're at their 35. I think maybe they might make a push and try and get a play or 2 in here. Maybe. We saw Tomlin do this bizarrely just a few weeks ago within one of these last couple games right before half, and it was almost like throw up the white flag, go in. I'm always for, you're going to be that aggressive. I think you put your foot down on the pedal, on the gas pedal, and not the brake. But you got to get an awful lot of yards there in order for that to mean any. What is it? You need you got
to score a touchdown.
65.
That's the thing is you're not getting in position for a field goal because you got no kicker.
Right? 65 yards instead of maybe 25.
You're not in 21 seconds. You're probably not scoring a touchdown. Not with the way that group has been playing and the defensive nature of the game. So yeah, I got no problem with him saying, let's just go to that.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. I'm just saying if you have Boswell,
if you have Boswell, he does something. It's totally different. Absolutely, they get in there, they try and get down there, and see what they can do. But without him, it's just not going to happen.
Totally agree, my friend. It does suck, though, that the second half, third quarter starts with the Steelers going 3 and out. And
that was bad.
And now it's like, well, that's all for naught because you didn't get any points on that one drive where Boswell gets knocked out. You don't have a kicker. And now you don't you took a knee to go in before halftime. And now you went 3 and out. So it's a little rough, I think, there, especially when the Browns come out and then go up 10-3 on the next drive. 8 plays, 86 yards. This includes that really bizarre Isaiah Buggs defensive holding, which was the first play from scrimmage. So not only did Chubb, they finally run the ball and 21 yards and smack the Steelers right in the face. Said, "Hey, defense, you got to wake up." They give them an extra bonus 5 yards there. So they don't even run a play on a third down. This was just chunk by chunk. It was like 2 yards, then 15, then 21, 4 yards, 8 yards, no gain. Dearness Johnson walks in pretty easy. One thing I did notice, though, we had on this drive, you had in this game, Derek Tuska. I don't know what the snap counts are yet. We probably won't have those for another day or so. And Taco Charlton gets to play in this game, too. Charlton wearing 98, Tuska wearing Dupree's old number 48. But I saw them around in some plays, so something to keep an eye on while you're on Melvin Ingram watch for maybe the next week and see what ends up happening there. But the Browns go up 10-3. There's still 9:36 left in the third quarter. Are the Steelers going to respond? Yes, sir, they do. 12 plays, 78-yard drive again. Just hit yourself. I mean, Ben did enough, and I think that's the big thing is that you're not relying on early in the season. This was 34 attempts by Ben, not 45, not 54, not, this is what you should do. Not all you should have. If you're going to have close to 60 to 70 attempts, scatter those over 2 games. Don't put them all in one game for the old man here. So, but Najee Harris, man, 3-yard gain, 2-yard gain, little chunks here. Benny Snell almost gets the first down, misses it. Steelers go for it, 4th and 1. Najee Harris gets in through this pile. Gets it. Looks pretty obvious to me. There are some people that were hawing about that. Chase Claypool.
He made that easy.
Oh, yeah. Claypool for 16. Ben to Pat Freiermuth for 22. Ben to Deontay Johnson for 4 yards. Greg Newsome hurt on that play as those guys continue to battle. This was 2nd and 6 from the Cleveland 8. Wish I had the call. I'd like to hear what it sounded like on the radio. But Najee Harris, 8 yards for the touchdown, was not going to be denied. Superman through the air, and I'm just like, woo! That was pretty good. 2-point conversion where Ben goes up the middle, and that succeeds with I don't know where the hold was on Kendrick Green. And that one just really ticked me off. And then, of course, that this attempt
I have a theory.
Fail. Yeah.
I have a theory. You don't want me to say it, but I have a theory. You ready?
But now I need to hear it.
Green farted near the ref.
Oh, here we go.
Just saying.
And there's nowhere to go when you're the center.
I'm annoyed with you. I'm annoyed with you. That stinks. Flag, holding.
And there's nowhere to go. You're the center. It's not like you're the referee. You spot the ball. You leave one that's silent and deadly and just hightail out of there. You could blame it on everyone else that's over there. So Steelers defense gets to it though. Chubb with a loss for 2 yards, incomplete for Rashad Higgins, and then Mayfield, he gets 11 yards to Jarvis Landry, but Trey Norwood shows up here. He had a tough assignment here because he found himself covering Landry more than once in this game, but he stops him short. And then there's a delay of game that was pretty bizarre by the Browns. I'm not sure if they really wanted to go for it or not there.
They did not want to go for it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that the Steelers didn't get sucked into it. So the reason I say it's more bizarre, it's like, did you need that much room for that punt? Because the guy only punts 39 yards.
It's the question of, is it worth a timeout, right? Is it worth a timeout when you're not going to go for it?
Yeah, is it worth sucking them in and you can
yards?
Get maybe the first down? I see some
they
of the
saved
strategy.
their timeout. I don't have a problem. Well, why do I care? Do whatever they're going to do. They're the Browns.
Yeah, exactly.
You lost. But I understand why you would just take the 5 yards because it's not going to make a big difference either way.
Yeah. I don't know. It just it was one of those things where, earlier they went for it and then they didn't at this point. And, the Steelers don't have a kicker. Just some things I'm throwing out. I totally get like you're getting. That's the only reason why I'm saying within the context of the unusual here being Chris Boswell not being available. So the Steelers put together a nice little scoring drive here. They're going to stack some touchdowns again. What'd I say? Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth. Top 2 picks, get these guys involved. They get them involved. And I wouldn't say as frequently on this drive, because you had a nice 24-yard play with a pass to Zach Gentry. Starting to turn into a fine player. He's been developed over the last few years, third-year player. Ben went to look for Freiermuth on one of these plays, didn't get to him. But he does find Freiermuth for the touchdown, which was
a grown-ass man catch. That was a hell of a catch.
Feet in bounds, guy
Beautiful.
all over him, just unbelievable. Hauls it in. 2-point conversion is not successful, though, so I know, much like myself, Brian, the grays, the heart palpitations, loss of hair, loss of fingernails, all valid here as there's still 11 minutes left in this game, and the Steelers take a 5-point lead, 15-10. It's just kind of one of these things. If you give up 2 short fields to the Browns and they just kick 2 field goals, do you win it? Because, you have to go pretty much the length here. And that's what I'm more concerned about looking at the game time and situation and score and everything else. However, the Browns shoot themselves in the foot. The next drive, this is a rare one where Jarvis Landry loses the ball. And caused by none other than a former Cleveland Brown, Joe Schobert, which you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
Isn't it terrible? You hate to see
just
it.
breaks my heart to see those revenge games come to fruition. TJ Watt falls on the grenade like he has been. He's always around the ball. For the guy's phenomenal. Like, what the heck else could you say about it?
Yeah. So, don't ask him to cover Jarvis Landry anymore.
No,
please.
that was pointed. It was pointed out, obviously, by Tony Romo and them when you had the base package in. This is what happens, and people are still going to complain about it. And it's like this. Sometimes this is what happens. Somebody's got to cover them. You just don't leave them wide open. Like,
that's
what do
true.
You do? What are you supposed to do? I don't know. I might take TJ versus Spilly on that in that situation. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But everybody, again, genius when it goes your way, right? Everybody remember when TJ Watt knocked that ball away from Jordy Nelson a few years ago in that Packers game? Stuff happens. Steelers don't do anything with this turnover, though.
No. Very aggravating.
Yeah, it's very aggravating. Here you have the Steelers taking the delay a game this time, although this one was the one that wasn't necessarily intentional, because why would you take a delay a game from your own 28? And then Harvin only kicks it 38, and I do believe you froze the punter. I think so, because it looked like he had a pretty good boot. He got one into action right before that, and then not so good of a boot this time, 38 yards out of bounds. Browns get the ball back, Brian. They're running the ball. They're moving pretty decently. They get down. It's about the 2-minute warning. They're down to the Steelers 26, and they're down to the 24, and it's an incomplete pass for Austin Hooper. It's Nick Chubb, right guard, for a loss of a yard.
Yep.
And then
Mr. Highsmith on that one, I believe.
Yes, Mr. Highsmith comes around the back end there, all the way around, and still has the motor going. Hate to see it. Love to see it.
Love to see that.
3rd and 11, Pittsburgh 25. We're down to the nitty-gritty, folks. 2:05 here. You're looking
here
at
it comes.
the clock.
We're going to snap. Oh, wait. Our guy just ran an extra 5 yards before the ball was ever snapped. What the hell is going on?
It's like Canadian rules.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he probably turned around and went, sorry.
Oh, man. Who were they showing? Was that Harrison Bryant or Hooper? They had the most disgusted look on their face. It was one of the tight ends. Like the disappointment your parent has when they told you not to do that and you still did it, and then it happens. And so they create themselves a 3rd and 16 hole, and the clock stops. This clock they would have ran this play, and it would have been past the 2-minute warning. The Browns, I don't think, were looking for reasons to stop the clock at this point, because they're in somewhat of a command. They're only down 5. They've got 30 yards to go. They have all their timeouts, and they're going to have about 2 minutes to operate and maybe close out this game where the Steelers get the ball back, or maybe don't, with hardly any time remaining. Yep. And instead, now they're faced with a 3rd and 16. It's a short pass to Hooper for 4 yards, which is stopped by Joe Schobert. 2-minute warning goes through now, so now you have another clock stoppage. So you only go from 2:05 to 1:58. And Baker Mayfield cannot get Jarvis Landry. Minka Fitzpatrick, PFF's 39th out of only 36 safeties in the NFL, or whatever they rank them, below the bottom, makes a grown-ass man play. And that, sir, is pretty much the ball game. I'm like, can they run this clock out? Yes, they will, because this looked very... he who shall not be named, but used to wear number 84, and I'm not talking about Rico Bussey in the preseason. This was a quick slant for 50 yards to Deontay Johnson.
It was nice.
Adios. See you later. Nice to know you.
That was pretty much. I love the fact that Tony Romo or Jim Nantz couldn't think. One of the two of them couldn't believe they could actually burn 6 seconds by running a bootleg. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Of course you can.
Did they not? Were they not watching the one Super Bowl where John Harbaugh told his punter to just run to the one corner and then take on
top of that, get real. Come on, it takes Ben 6 seconds to run 4 yards. Come on, it's the way it is. It's fine. It's okay. It's all good.
What do you think Ben's 40 time is right now? About an 8.2.
Yeah, it's not good. Although of course, being the Buckeyes fans that we were, you have to now call out. The big boy on the scoop and score last night against Penn State.
Oh, man.
OHIO. Go Bucks.
Boy, was he sucking wind.
He was, but 5.1 on his 40. They went back and timed it. 5.1, 40-yard dash. Ben would lose.
No, he was. I was impressed with that. Was his name Gage by chance? Was it Gage?
I can't remember, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, big boy. We're talking 300-pound defensive lineman.
Yeah.
That was
nice.
Very much so. But absolutely, and the Steelers are pretty smart with this. I mean, Najee was doing the Lev Bell thing here, kind of waiting behind the line and trying not to lose any yards, not to lose the football, chew some maximum clock, then run into a pile and chew a little bit more clock, and they were able to tick off the full 1:53 all the way down to there was 6 seconds. I don't think it should have been 6 seconds, but there was a false start. And you're like, and like you said, could they get rid of 6 seconds there? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Ben's not going to really run backwards. He's going to run up to the line of scrimmage and then just throw it straight up in the air towards somewhere and out of bounds where nobody can play it. And that's going to be the end of the game. It's going to be almost essentially a punt. A short punt. It got down to the 20. I'm thinking even to myself, it's like, geez, they're just lucky they just didn't get scored on Deontay Johnson there. That he got caught, because that's ball game, period. It don't matter how much time's left on that clock. The only thing that would have mattered was, they would have had the PAT, which would have not been a PAT, and then having to kick the ball for a kickoff. So you never know how that's going to end up working out under those circumstances. But Nonetheless, Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-3 and not in the basement of the AFC North. No, that would be everyone's preseason darling, Super Bowl favorite out of the AFC. They could join the other AFC favorite, Kansas City Chiefs, at 3-4. The Chiefs are 3-4 too, right? I think. Hold on. I may have that incorrect. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Because so are the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, the Browns are 4-4. They didn't have their bye
they're 4-4. Yes.
Sorry. I'll give them a little more credit. So they're actually better than the Chiefs. They're actually better than the Chiefs right now. So
yeah.
But just exactly the way everyone thought it would be. Steelers are only a game effectively behind the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're not too far behind the 5-2 Baltimore Ravens, who are on a bye. So they have an opportunity to catch both of these teams now, and there's still plenty of division AFC North football to be played. 1-1 in division. We said they would probably all cannibalize each other. That's a long way towards going in the right direction. And Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, 2 home games back-to-back coming up to get a little more of a breather with Monday Night Football. You got an interesting story about that or something, right?
So it's not a story. It's an interesting thought. So for you 2%ers who are still hanging around, as we towards the end, we appreciate you. We love you. It's great. It's fantastic. Even the Cleveland guy.
No, he tuned out. He's not listening to this one.
Yeah, he may not be. He may not have hung around this time. We'll see. We'll see in the comments.
We should. No, hold on one second.
Charles, I can't remember.
Charles, if you're still there, I thought the Woody costume from Toy Story on the Cleveland Brown, the elf version mascot, was pretty neat with the pull string too. That was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
I saw
all right,
but that's just something in case he did listen, he could throw that in the comments and say he's a 2%er on a Cleveland Browns on a fan on a Pittsburgh Steelers podcast.
Yes, that's right. Well, let me say first, I actually got a couple of really nice ideas for the helmet giveaway. One of them was to try and put something together with the Pittsburgh Food Bank and kind of do it in conjunction with your different shirt, right? And see if we could figure that out. I just don't know how we go about it. I love that idea. Loved it. Thought that was fantastic. In fact, if we can figure out how to do it, I'll give away them both. I'll give away the Antonio Brown helmet and the Jeff Reed helmet if we can do something to figure out how to support the Pittsburgh Food Bank. I just don't know how to do it yet. One of the other suggestions from one of our very loyal listeners, one of the people who was selected and got taken advantage of the "Tell me why you should win a mini helmet" contest, what we did, and got a grown ass man Cam Hayward helmet for his daughter Adelaide, who down under. He suggested to promote the podcast. You had to tweet out a picture of yourself with a terrible towel, someplace unique, but also hashtag SCU and at Steel City Underground. And whichever one we thought was the coolest could win. I like that idea, too. I like the food bank one better because I like the idea of giving something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, headed into Thanksgiving, too. I mean,
absolutely.
In the holidays, why not? We'll figure this out.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. But now, here's the other one. All right. So we got 2 home games coming up, right? So I'm going to go to both. I'm going to go to the Monday night game. I'm going to go to the other game. My wife is probably going to come to one of the games with me. It's the first time she's not, I don't want to say ever, but the first time she will have come this year, and she very rarely goes. She's a fan when it's season time. She puts up with me. So she's a fan now. She puts up with me doing it. So she may go, but she may not. So here's the thing. In the comments, and one of these 2 games, I'm going to have an extra ticket. So let's just remember that.
Oh, my goodness. Come sit with Brian.
Tell me why I should take you to the game instead of my wife.
I'm your co-host.
Oh, you got tickets. But there you go.
I'm giving an example. There
you go. That is an example. It's a good example.
You could bring Charles. He could see what a winning football team looks like. Bum tis. Yeah.
I'm not ready to go there yet. The Browns are a good team. I'm not taking anything away from them. I don't like to say it, but you know me. I'm pragmatic. I tell the truth.
Pragmatic. That's like one of the dumbest words that could be used out of the English language dictionary.
Adjudication.
I don't know that one. But you know what? Just looking ahead, too, they grab the Bengals in Cincinnati and then go to New England and play the Patriots over the next 2 weeks. Those will both be quite telling games because now you're going to shake the AFC North out a little more, regardless of who wins with Cincinnati and Cleveland, and then a little bit of the Bill Belichick flavor up there. You never know what's going to happen with that before they get the Lions at home and then go back out to the Ravens and then a bye week and then host the Ravens as they head into December.
That's nasty. I feel a little bad for the Browns there.
Raiders at home, Packers at Green Bay, Steelers in Pittsburgh, Bengals at home is how their season shakes out too. So not necessarily they got
That's
the Lions.
That's not a cakewalk for them.
No,
that is not a
nobody.
Cakewalk of a schedule.
This is what I said at the beginning of the year.
Season, yeah.
It's just I'm not going to look at everyone else's right now, but that's just I just happen to have theirs up because I was interested in who they had next week. So, anyways, I think we belabored it long enough.
I'm just going to reiterate this point. I'm going to reiterate it. Tell me why I should take you to the game rather than my wife.
And the thing is, I gotta somehow find a way of letting Brian's wife know that this has been said here on the show, because it's not like she watches.
She watches. Yes, she does.
She does.
Really. She does.
Thanks for
on occasion. She doesn't watch all the time.
Probably
no, she's not. She's probably not. At this point, she's been bored out of her mind.
I was just curious because I was going to say Brian will then have to relay that message to his wife. She might be the one who picks the winner. She's like, you know what? That guy made a very good point. I'll stay home.
Well, she really hasn't decided what she wants. She's going to go to one. She knows she's going to go to one, but she doesn't think she's going to both. And I'm not making any promises here, right? Wife wins, right? She decides she wants to go to both. She wins.
It's very bold. It's very bold. Well, Brian, thank you for that. Thank you for joining me once again. We are up against it. Happy Halloween. Happy Victory Sundays, Mondays, or whatever you may be, whenever or wherever you may be listening to this, because our friend down under, that's probably morning now. He's watching it in a different time zone there, different day. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we got a couple, not that same one, though. Got two of them. We got the one that looks like Tecmo Bowl, which, quite sad, the Steelers weren't in the original Nintendo Tecmo Bowl.
And it was very disturbing for me.
Yeah, it's very strange. He's like, I can't play this game. Not that you would have wanted to, because when they did end up in there, it was like Dwight Hands of Stone returning kicks and punts, and yeah, it's fun. At least the defense was okay. Hardy Nickerson.
Yeah.
some good old school stuff. But we got a couple of those in there. We got the Grown Ass Man shirts coming along, so pay attention to that stuff on social media. Visit steelcityunderground.com where we have some more coverage. Once again, my name's Joe. His name's Brian. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Take care of yourselves out there. Don't go too crazy. Don't hurt too many Browns friends, family, whatever. Don't hurt their feelings too much. Got to sweep them. So when they come back to Pittsburgh, that's when you do it, because then they have to live with that taste in their mouth for 6 months or more, like we have.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's when it'll really feel good. So until next time, my name's Joe. Once again, my name's Joe Kuzma. His name's Brian E. Roach. And we encourage all of our listeners and viewers out there to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.